it is advancing and has advanced.
So is he taking credit for your ideas or not?
I think he's looking at it and saying, this is what we need to do in America, and he's absolutely right. But the way to do it is by reversing the policies he's put in place. We lowered the corporate tax rate, we lowered the individual income tax rate, we reduced the regulatory burden substantially, and one of the things President Obama was there to talk about is penalizing corporations if they have a factory overseas. It's the opposite of what America should be doing.
Okay, now a couple things here. Here was the to-do list, 3 of them anyway. Eliminate tax incentives for shipping jobs overseas.
Can I comment on that?
You may.
Right now, American companies have more than $2 trillion overseas. If a company like IBM is sitting on $100 billion in Europe and decides they're going to open up a factory in Ireland, are we going to say, we don't want you to bring the rest back to open a factory in Albany, New York, or to open a factory in Ohio? This is ridiculous. And in fact, Obama's own commission, the Bowles-Simpson Commission, said we should adopt a tax code for corporations that's the same as virtually every other advanced country in the world, which would bring that money back and bring jobs.
Not just Xerox, but you think about Microsoft and Apple and all these companies that are sitting on a pile of cash.
$2 trillion.
Number 2, help homeowners refinance their homes at a lower rate. Well, we're all for that.
I mean, everybody is in favor of that. The interest rates right now are the lowest they have been in over 50 years. And how the president expects the government to impact that directly is confusing to me. But right now, we do want homeowners to refinance. We don't want them to do it if they can't afford to pay the mortgage. That's how we got into this problem.
Number 3, promote new tax credits for clean energy.
We've had tax credits.
What's that sound like?
Yeah, that sounds like what we did 15 years ago, and the whole point being that you incentivize the private sector, and what this president has done is give $500 billion or $500 million to Solyndra. Pick winners and losers, pick industries, instead of investing across the board in lowering taxes for the private sector. It's what we did, it works. We have to do more.
Here is what I hear from business leaders all the time, and that is we're hesitant to invest because we're tired of the regulations, we're not sure which way healthcare goes, and because of that the economy stalls, and that's essentially what we're seeing now. Do you buy that argument? And if you do buy that argument, does anything change over the next 6 months?
I think that they're exactly right. The reason we have the worst recovery in the history of the United States, it's the worst in the recovery after the Great Depression, is because this president has imposed new costs on business through Obamacare, new regulatory burdens through Dodd-Frank. He promises he's going to raise income taxes on business leaders if he's reelected, and he ignores his own commission's report that says that we have the highest corporate tax rates in the development world and we have to lower them. His policies are the reason we don't have more successes
but they're not
like the Albany
stupid. They see the jobs number from last week.
Their policy.
They want to help try and change something, especially in an election year.
So what do they want to do? They want to penalize companies. They say, you do something overseas and we're not going to let you have one of the carrots we're going to give you here in America. It's the opposite of what we do. We said it's a competitive world. We're going to want you to be in a position where you invest.
All right, we'll see what happens in Albany today. Governor, thank you. George Pataki, the former governor of New York.
Thank you,
in
Bill.
the studio.
Good being here.
Mark.
Well, it could be a big